Thank you for this very good video idea, and I'll definitely do more of your guys' suggestions later on. Jimmy Garoppolo was a 2-star quarterback coming out of high school. He only received 3 offers and all of them were from FCS teams, and he committed to Eastern Illinois, the same college that Tony Romo went to. And that's kind of funny. I mean, Eastern Illinois had better quarterbacks in the past decade and a half, 2 decades than a team like Penn State, Ohio State, Pitt. Anyway, that's besides the point. So after college, Jimmy Garoppolo got drafted in the 2nd round, 62nd overall by the New England Patriots. It's kind of funny, like the Patriots really love their FCS guys, but this ended up being a good pick, as you can figure. Jimmy Garoppolo would have limited time with the Patriots in 2014, his rookie year, and in 2015. He didn't really get to see the field that much. And Brissett played the others, but Garoppolo was definitely the better quarterback on the field that year. And in 2017, Tom Brady was back healthy, the Patriots were doing good like always, and Jimmy Garoppolo didn't see as much of the field because Tom Brady got back. He's not really going to see the field unless something drastic happens like the year before. But at the trade deadline, like out of nowhere in 2017, the Patriots traded Jimmy Garoppolo to the 49ers for their 2nd round pick. Now, a lot of people complain about this. Why would the Patriots trade a guy that could success Tom Brady and take his spot later on? Why would they do that? And, I kind of wonder that too, but looking back at it now, I mean, he's Tom Brady. He's an ageless quarterback. There's never going to be a quarterback like him. You don't trade him. He's the quarterback on your team until he retires or he leaves. So don't fault the Patriots too much there, because they were going to end up having to extend Garoppolo anyway because of how long Brady stayed with the team. And you don't want to pay a backup quarterback to a lot of money because he's a backup quarterback. There's a reason why he's a backup. He's not going to have significant importance like a starter would have. Once he got traded to the 49ers, he was a starter pretty much right away. And he did pretty well. He won all 5 of his starts that he played with the 49ers that year. He ended up throwing only 7 touchdowns to 5 interceptions, but that was besides the point. The 49ers were winning. He took a team that was like 1-9, 1-10. They were going to compete for a top pick, and they finished off 6-10, which is like very impressive. And despite not having like the top 5, I believe they didn't have a top 5 pick, but despite not having that, this was a really good thing for the 49ers because it looked like Jimmy Garoppolo was going to be their guy moving forward. But unfortunately in 2018, Garoppolo would only play 3 games and he suffered a career-ending injury. And he wasn't very impressive during those 3 games. He only went 1-2 as a starter. But 2019 was definitely a surprising year to say the least. Garoppolo would start all 16 games and would go 13-3 as a starter. He threw for 27 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, 3,978 passing yards, and a 69.1% completion percentage. He even took the 49ers to a 1st-round bye in the playoffs. And they would end up winning some games, and they ended up going to the Super Bowl against the Chiefs, where they would end up losing. But this was still amazing, like even the most die-hard 49ers fans couldn't have predicted them going to the Super Bowl. They were definitely a playoff contender, no doubt. But the Super Bowl, that was kind of crazy, and Jimmy Garoppolo was their main guy, leading them there. And going into the 2020 season, it looked like the 49ers can repeat their division crown in the NFC West. But unfortunately, Jimmy Garoppolo suffered multiple injuries and ended up only playing 6 games and only went 3-3 as a starter. And the 49ers would end up going last in that division, and it was a tough division, but they still went last in that division, going 6-10. Now, there's really not too much to why Jimmy Garoppolo was successful, but, he was very good at reading the defenses. He was able to make a lot of smart decisions, and despite throwing 13 interceptions in his Super Bowl year, he was still very safe with the football. You could count on him to make the routine plays and not force any turnovers that needed to be forced. And also, Garoppolo had so much help. He was able to learn from Tom Brady for like 3.5 years with the Patriots, and he ended up going to a really good offensive head coach in Kyle Shanahan with the 49ers. So he already got a lot of help, and he played very well, and he was obviously good enough to make it to a Super Bowl. But now going into the 2021 season, there's doubt that he could be the 49ers quarterback again. A lot of people think that they're going to get another quarterback or they're going to draft him. So I'm going to share my thoughts on the situation and what I think the 49ers could do moving forward. Now looking at now, this 6-10 season kind of was a blessing, That division was so tough. It was very unlikely they were going to make another Super Bowl because they had some injuries like Nick Bosa, Richard Sherman on the defense, who were really good the year before. And they have the 12th overall pick. And if I were them, if they really like a quarterback, I say pick one. I'd really like them to trade for someone like Zach Wilson, trade up like with the Jets, because they might move down from what sources have been saying. But a lot of signs have them going with Trey Lance, which I could see being a good fit. It's really hard to evaluate an FCS quarterback, especially someone like Lance, who missed almost all of 2020, I believe. But still, all I know from Trey Lance is that he's very safe with the football, like Jimmy Garoppolo. And I think he can be a solid fit with the 49ers because, he could be able to maybe wait a year, hopefully, and he can take the reins and be ready to play in 2022. And with that being said, I really think that the 49ers should stick with Jimmy Garoppolo, at least in the 2021 season. He's the guy who brought you to a Super Bowl. You can't just trade him after being injured, at least I believe. But if I were the 49ers, I would definitely get a quarterback to sit behind Jimmy Garoppolo that whole season, maybe play the last game if they're not doing so well, or if they end up making the playoffs and they can just use him in the last game as a throwaway game. But if I were the 49ers, I would definitely roll with Jimmy Garoppolo as the starter in 2021. And if you look at the 49ers' whole situation, they're looking really good, to be honest. A team like the Rams might be in serious trouble because of their cap and how much they're owning players, and Jared Goff doesn't really seem like the answer for them. Goff has really regressed in a lot of ways, and it's really tough for the Rams, so I don't see them competing for as long as the 49ers can. And the Cardinals, it depends how they can build their team as well. Same with the Seahawks, they could get a better defense or a more consistent defense. But, the 49ers look good. They could rebuild for maybe a year or two. Extend the important guys, like Fred Warner was the best player on defense in 2020. You definitely want to extend him. And if Nick Bosa can come back healthy in 2021 and put up really good numbers, you want to extend him too. And also not to mention, the 49ers had really good production on the defense, such as like Kerry Hyder and Eric Armstead, despite his sack numbers dropping. So you want to extend some of those guys there. And even Javon Kinlaw, their first round pick, he was very solid despite only having 1.5 sacks. So the 49ers are in a really good spot, and it's going to be interesting. I think they could be really good. And, if they can get a quarterback that they like, they could be in a really good situation. I feel Zach Wilson's like their guy. If they can trade up to the number 2 overall pick with the Jets, because I know the Jets want to trade down, maybe go with a receiver. I think that the 49ers could be in a really good situation. And I can see them doing something like the Chiefs did, where they draft Wilson, have him sit pretty much the whole year under Jimmy Garoppolo, and then the 49ers could trade Jimmy Garoppolo if he doesn't show signs of improving as like their franchise guy, not just a slightly better game manager like he's been. And while like Jimmy Garoppolo has been very good, is he really gonna take a mediocre team to the Super Bowl? Like someone like Tom Brady, like definitely could, maybe even Aaron Rodgers could. But Jimmy Garoppolo isn't one of the best quarterbacks. He's very good, but he's not going to be the 100% deciding factor of a game. And I think that's what the 49ers could see. But again, he took him to the Super Bowl. Not all quarterbacks can do that. So I definitely feel like he should be the starter in 2021. But if the 49ers can get the quarterback of their future this year or even next year, I think they're going to be in a really good situation. Kyle Shanahan obviously knows what he's doing. And, I would trust them more than anyone to develop a quarterback that they draft or will draft for them to succeed in upcoming seasons. And that will be the end of the video. Thank you guys for watching. That was my opinion on the 49ers situation and Jimmy Garoppolo's kind of rise to where he is now. And hopefully you guys enjoyed, and if you do, I would appreciate if you guys like and subscribe. Obviously you don't have to if you don't want to. But other than that, I'll see you guys on Sunday.